On September 9, 2011, the towering glass doors of Filene's basement on Boston's iconic Beacon Hill finally slammed shut, ending a 115-year saga of discounted luxury that had once turned a humble bargain basement into a nationwide retail legend. It began in 1909, when the visionary department store magnate Edward Filene opened a modest basement in his flagship store on Summer Street, promising the best goods at the best prices. The concept was simple yet revolutionary: sell excess inventory, overstock, and season-end merchandise at deep discounts, but only to the first 100 customers who arrived before the doors opened each morning. Those early shoppers, often dressed in their finest attire, clutching tickets that guaranteed a first come, first served treasure hunt, created a frenzy that turned the basement into a social spectacle. Word spread like wildfire. By the 1920s, the basement was no longer a hidden annex. It was a cultural institution, a place where New England's elite and working-class families mingled in the same aisles, hunting for designer dresses, fine china, and the latest electronics at a fraction of the price. Filene's basement became synonymous with the thrill of the hunt, and the Filene's ticket became a badge of honor. The model proved so profitable that other department stores tried to copy it, but none could capture the same blend of exclusivity and accessibility. The post-World War Roman II boom propelled the brand onto the national stage. In 1965, Filene's basement opened its first out-of-state location in New York City's Grand Central Terminal, followed by stores in Washington, D.C. and Chicago. The brand's expansion was fueled by a simple equation: buy overstock at a discount, sell it cheaper than the competition, and repeat. By the 1980s, Filene's basement operated more than 30 locations across the United States, and its annual sales topped $1 billion. The company's glossy catalogs, emblazoned with slogans like "Fashion's Biggest Clearance," lured shoppers from coast to coast, cementing its place in American consumer culture. Yet beneath the glittering facade, cracks began to appear. The first warning sign arrived in the early 1990s, when the retail landscape shifted dramatically. The rise of off-price chains such as TJ Maxx and Marshalls introduced relentless competition, offering similar bargains without the theatrical, first-come ticket system. Meanwhile, the advent of e-commerce started to erode foot traffic in brick-and-mortar stores. Filene's basement tried to adapt, launching an online storefront in 1999, but its website struggled to replicate the excitement of the in-store treasure hunt. The real financial strain emerged in the early 2000s. In 2002, Filene's basement was acquired by May Department Stores for $200 million, a move intended to inject capital and modernize operations. However, the merger brought a heavy debt load, and the new parent company imposed aggressive cost-cutting measures that diluted the brand's unique experience. Store layouts were standardized, ticket systems were simplified, and the once thrilling early bird crowds dwindled. By 2006, sales had slipped 12% year over year, and analysts began to flag the company's mounting liabilities. The warning signs turned ominous in 2008. The global financial crisis hit discretionary spending hard, and consumers turned to even deeper discounts. Filene's basement, already wrestling with an unsustainable debt burden of $200 million, found its inventory turnover slowing dramatically. The company's attempt to revamp its image with fashion-forward campaigns failed to resonate, and several flagship locations, Boston, New York, and Chicago, reported double-digit declines in foot traffic. In a desperate bid to stay afloat, Filene's announced a series of store closures in 2009, shuttering 9 locations and laying off 5,000 employees. By 2010, the writing was on the wall. Filene's basement filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, citing $275 million in debt and an inability to secure additional financing. The bankruptcy filing revealed a staggering $150 million in unsecured creditor claims, ranging from suppliers who hadn't been paid for merchandise to former employees seeking back wages. The court-appointed trustee attempted to find a buyer, but the brand's tarnished reputation and the lingering economic recession made potential investors wary. The final blow came on August 31, 2011, when the bankruptcy court approved the liquidation of all remaining assets. In the weeks that followed, the iconic Boston store, once a pilgrimage site for bargain hunters, hosted a final clear-out sale, with long lines of hopeful shoppers hoping to snag one last designer coat before the doors closed forever. On September 9, the lights dimmed, the security alarms fell silent, and the last ticket was torn from the dispenser, marking the end of an era. The aftermath rippled through the retail world. Former employees, many of whom had spent decades climbing the ranks, faced sudden unemployment and struggled to find comparable positions in an industry already in flux. Suppliers, left with unpaid invoices, absorbed losses that forced some to downsize or exit the market entirely. The vacant Filene's basement spaces became symbols of the broader retail apocalypse, later repurposed as co-working hubs, boutique hotels, and luxury condominiums, transformations that underscored how quickly consumer spaces can be reinvented. For shoppers, the closure left a nostalgic void. The thrill of the ticket, the camaraderie of early morning lines, and the sense of discovery that defined Filene's basement were replaced by algorithm-driven flash sales and endless scrolls on digital marketplaces. Yet the legacy endures in the collective memory of a generation that learned to chase bargains with the same zeal once reserved for treasure hunts. Filene's basement serves as a cautionary tale of how a once innovative model can be eclipsed by shifting consumer habits, mounting debt, and a failure to evolve authentically. Subscribe to The Collapse for more stories like this.